Yo, what is up, YouTube? It's your boy Legend, and I'm back with another video. You already know what this is just by looking at the thumbnail. Now, I'm sorry I didn't upload yesterday. I was extremely tired. I meant to go upload, but I ended up just falling straight to sleep. But to make up for yesterday, you guys are getting a double upload today. So without further ado, let's just get into this intro so we can start this with us. Naruto walked with Hanabi, and Hanabi walked rather close to him as they walked by a bush. Naruto stopped and turned. If this is your way of sneaking up on me, then you need a lot of work, Hinata. Hinata came out of the bush with her face red as Hanabi gave a light glare. Actually, this is better. Both of you come with me. Hanabi followed instantly, but Hinata lagged behind a little bit. Minutes later, they were in the training ground in front of Naruto. I'm not going to hold back with my tongue, because the two of you are girls. But, Hanabi, that was absolutely pathetic. You're a Hyuga, but you let someone as weak as that Cloud Shinobi sneak up on you? I can see why Sasuke doesn't consider the Byakugan a dojutsu. And Hinata, you're even worse than Hanabi. If I'm being completely honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Neji ended up the next clan head. But now the Chunin exams were cancelled and we're going to war with Kumo. So I'm going to break both of you and your habits of using the gentle fist. I'm going to break the two of you physically and mentally. Then I'm going to rebuild you to be one of the strongest Hyugas in this village. Naruto then poofed away as a kunai was placed at Hanabi and Hinata's throats. The two of you would be dead right now. We started the moment we stepped out here. Both Narutos then exploded as the two Hyugas were blown back as Naruto stepped into the clearing. Come. Minutes later, both Hyugas were on the ground, in pain, with bruises all over them. Naruto only had a single scuff mark on his shirt. You rely too much on your Byakugan. You take the easy way in a fight and achieve 360-degree vision. But you also drain your chakra, and your base ninja senses go dull. Tell me, how much did that pathetic excuse of a dojutsu help you in this fight? It didn't, said Hanabi. Exactly, but the both of you continue to use it. Even if I was not as skilled as I am, someone like me would be the worst matchup. I have the largest reserves of chakra in this village, and I know the Shadow Clone Jutsu. So that being said, I can make a single clone of myself and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between me or the clone. Simply because, with the amount of chakra I have, I can flood the clone with chakra. It's almost like an indestructible genjutsu to the Byakugan. Think of what I said and correct yourself one flaw at a time. With that, Naruto walked away, not bothering to help the two of them up. Meanwhile, in Kumo, the Raikage had both Yugito and B in his office. He informed them that they were going to act as his guard at the upcoming 5 Kage summit. The Raikage had every intention of going to war with the Leaf. He only called the summit to see if he could gain any allies to assist him. In Kiri, Mei went through hand signs as he spit lava onto a pile of paper. Civilians and their stupid wants. What's the point in setting up a shinobi academy for civilian children only? Chojuro then stepped into the office with a massive blush on his face as he gave Mei a scroll. Why, thank you, Chojuro. Chojuro got even redder as he nodded and walked out as Mei dropped her fake smile and undid the scroll. And Suna, Gaara came into the Kazekage's office as he placed the scroll on Tamari's desk and left. Tamari waved her finger and undid the scroll with her wind manipulation as she sighed at the annoying request. Back in Konoha, Naruto and Sasuke stood in front of Danzo in the office as the two of them nodded. When is the summit? Asked Sasuke. Danze said 3 days, in the land of iron, as Sasuke nodded. Meanwhile, off in the distance, Orochimaru stood over a test table with a woman strapped to it. She was around 5 foot 9 inches with a slim figure and long black hair. She looked to be unconscious as Orochimaru laughed. This one will remain loyal to me. She will do all that I say. She will be even greater prodigy than that unreasonable bitch I wasted time training. Orochimaru then injected her with the serum as her body started to spasm. Time skip. 3 days later, every Kage was in the land of iron as they all sat at a table in the summit. Mifune looked over the summit as A spoke. I called this meeting, so I'll start it off. Hokage, what you did to my shinobi, what your shinobi have done to them, to me, during the time of the Chunin exams was unacceptable. If you wish to avoid war, then you will give up the heads of the shinobi that killed 2 of my jonin and the 2 brats that took my arm. I want their heads. Danzo opened his eye. Maybe you didn't hear the seriousness in my tone the last time we spoke, right, Kage? My shinobi were not in the wrong. Your shinobi tried to take the Byakugan again, along with the last Sharingan. You won't be getting their heads, and you won't be getting any of the Leaf's dojutsu. And that reminds me, Mizukage, if I'm correct, one of your guards possesses one of the Leaf's dojutsu, correct? Mei stiffened before she nervously nodded her head. Well then, there are 2 ways we can go about this. 1, Konoha and Kiri can form a formal alliance. You are not expected to help out in the upcoming war, since you just came out of one. Or, I can have one of my guards rip the eye from the man. Danzo gave a nod that only Mei seemed to catch on to, that said go with the plan. Mei said no as she waved her hand as A stepped out of the room. Danzo did the same, causing Sasuke to step out with A. Raikage flashed his hands, and both Yugito and B came out to go after Sasuke, but Naruto cut them off in an instant as he sliced the tendons in B's knees as he fell over in pain, and made a clone to hold him down while he grabbed Yugito by the throat, slammed her into the wall, and held a kunai to her side. You know, the spleen is an important part of the body. It helps filter the blood in the human body, get rid of the impurities. But have you ever wondered what happens if it just suddenly bursts? I'm curious since the human body can survive without it. Enough! We are here to talk, not have you fighting in my country, said Mifune. Danzo called Naruto back since Sasuke had came back with Ayo, who was holding his bloody eye socket as he went back behind the curtain. Kazekage, will you aid me in this war? If so, I'll station some of my shinobi outside of your borders to prevent them from taking over Wind Country. Danzo turned to Tamari as he gave a nod that said go with the plan, as Tamari narrowed her eyes. I'm sorry, Hokage-sama, but I don't have the manpower to aid you, but I can aid you with funds, if that would help. No, that won't be needed, Kazekage. I understand. Danzo may be old, but he had knowledge and experience. He knew how A thinks. He didn't think a lot, and that was his problem. He was making A think that he was putting all his plans out in front of him, but it was only a deception. Tsuchikage Dono, will you aid Kumo or Konoha? Asked A. Onoki glared at Danzo. The 2 of us will crush the Leaf. Very well then. This war is in our favor. This summit's over, said A as he left with Yugito and B, who was now half healed. The Mizukage left with her 2 guards as she looked at Ayo and asked what happened. Ayo pulled out a scroll from his coat as he lifted his eye patch to show that he still had the Byakugan. The Konoha and Sand Shinobi were the only ones left in the room now. Hokage Dono, feel free to station any Konoha Shinobi in the sand, and I'll do the same with my Shinobi. And with that, the 2 groups left and went back to their own villages. Upon arriving, Naruto went straight to his shared residence, avoiding everyone. He wasn't in the mood, and he just wanted to be left alone. But there was one person that he couldn't ignore. When he arrived, Anko greeted him by wrapping her arms around him from behind and licking his ear as she asked how he was in a seductive voice. Naruto undid her hands and turned around. He was about to say something to hurt her, to get her to leave him the hell alone, but against his better judgment, he took another approach. My day was fine, but it could have been better. Thinking that it would be the end of the conversation, Naruto went to walk away, but Anko spoke again, pissing Naruto off. Maybe I'll be able to make your day better. Anko took a step towards Naruto, but he pushed her away and took a step back. There's nothing you can do to make this day better. Now, if you don't mind, I'll be in my room trying to clear my head of all annoyances. Naruto walked away, glad that Anko was leaving him the hell alone. Every time she sees him, she always says some weird ass shit from the books that he reads, and it always makes him uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Sasuke entered his joint residency with Yujeyo. On the couch, she was reading. Hello, Yujeyo senpai. She looked up from her book with a raised eyebrow. Senpai? She questioned. Sasuke replied with, you're my superior, for now, so I intend to address you as such. Yujeyo shook her head. I'm not your superior. You may be a special jonin, but that's only because you lack the experience and technique, along with the finesse. But in an all-out fight, I can confidently say that you would kill me if I made the slightest of mistakes. Sasuke smiled in appreciation at her acknowledgement. Yes, there were things that he lacked in his ninja arsenal, but he was sure he'd pick up and learn fast. Meanwhile, off in the distance, a woman with long black hair and almost lifeless, dark blue eyes sat up on a table. She had small tubes running in and out of her body as she started to rip them out as the machine started to beep. Kabuto quickly ran into the room trying to restrain her, but she was a hell of a lot stronger than he thought. While he struggled to calm her, the binds that were wrapped around her chest came loose as they fell, only leaving her in her tight leather shorts. The woman slowly started to move more freely, as if getting used to the body that she was in, as she grabbed Kabuto by the throat and tossed him into the wall. He impacted with a thud, and when he looked up, she was coming down at him with a fist that morphed into a scythe. As he closed his eyes and brung up his hands, that's enough, test subject 19. A voice called out from behind, as it was Orochimaru. The woman stopped and turned as Kabuto breathed a sigh of relief. Orochimaru started to take a step forward with a sick grin on his face. I can't call you by your test number all the time, so I should give you a name. The woman spoke in a soft, stoic voice. What is it that you will name me, master? Orochimaru almost squealed like a girl. His experiment was working so far. It was quite difficult. This figure that stood in front of him had the genes from many different people. These people were Itachi Uchiha, Hashirama Senju, Aladi Nozaka, the third Raikage, and of course Orochimaru himself. Originally, he did this experiment to see if he could recreate an even stronger Sharingan, but all subjects never came out with said dojutsu, or they would just be a complete and utter failure. He thought of taking over the subject's body for himself, but that wasn't an option. Taking an artificial host made from many living human cells would cause his mind to shatter, being in an almost mindless body, so he settled for just creating one that would serve him to the end. Orochimaru then spoke. I'll call you Mondis. The newly named female experiment started to smile as the holes from the tubes began to close and heal. Now, Mondis, meet me in my personal chambers in 10 minutes exactly. The way you are now. Kabuto will escort you. Orochimaru stepped forward as he took her by the chin and started to kiss her. Eventually, she reciprocated it as he forced his long-ass tongue into her mouth and fondled her. You already know what he fondled, pinching her nipple before pulling away, as a strand of saliva was connected to both of their lips. Kabuto, who saw this, tried desperately not to throw up. No human tongue should be that long. It was just disturbing as fuck. The next day, Naruto was more frustrated than the previous. He had no time to train or improve himself because of the upcoming war. He had to train other people and make sure they could handle their own in a war. Before, he was only training Hanabi and Hinata, but now he had to train the arrogant ass Kiba Inuzaka, the prodigy of the Yamanaka clan Ino, the civilian weakling Sakura Haruno. In all seriousness, Sakura was very talented for a civilian being shinobi, but compared to those who came from shinobi families or clans, she was pathetic. Ino was a prodigy in her clan jutsu thanks to her father, and her fire style ninjutsu was slightly above average, but then again, he was comparing her fire style to Sasuke's. Yes, hers was good, but compared to Sasuke's more destructive arsenal of fire jutsu, Naruto could probably walk through everything she threw at him without a layer of chakra coating him. Now, her taijutsu was complete and utter shit. That was something he'd have fun working on her with. He would make her a complete monster in that area. Now, it was Kiba, the worst one of the three. If Naruto didn't know any better, he'd think Danzo hated him. Kiba's weakness was his temper, and the way he rushed into things along with other minor issues that would be fast to fix. Naruto looked at the three before he rubbed his temples as he felt Hinata and Hanabi also coming. It was supposed to just be the three of them, but now it was 6 of them. Naruto had an idea though. 15 minutes later, Ino, Kiba, and Sakura all lay on the ground panting. It was an easy way to expose all their weaknesses by fighting them all one by one. Ino's weakness was exposed within the first 10 seconds of the match when Naruto quickly closed the distance between them. Naruto completely embarrassed her in hand-to-hand combat since she only knew the basic academy style. Kiba, on the other hand, was a hothead that was unable to keep up, pushing Kiba to the point where he called Naruto an animalistic demon mid-fight, which turned out to be a big mistake for him. Naruto was good at keeping a level head, but when someone reminds him of that bastard Orochimaru or calls him a demon, it flips a switch. Kiba ended up on the ground with Akamaru under Naruto's foot, already ready to break the dog's neck, and the sword at Kiba's throat. Sakura, however, was interesting. Yes, she had low reserves. Yes, compared to the other shinobi, she was pathetic, but she never gave up. It was like she had something to prove, but even with her shitty taijutsu and lack of ninjutsu, Naruto knew he'd enjoy training Sakura just as much as he would Ino. Meanwhile, in Kumo, the Raikage was personally training 5 of his strongest Anbu along with Yugito and B. They were tasked with dealing with the blonde, and the Uchiha. He was sure he could deal with him, even if he was the one to take his arm, but that didn't matter. He was getting a prosthetic soon. Currently, Yugito and B were high Jonin level, and all his Anbus were low to mid Jonin level. Meanwhile, in the sand, Gaara was at the village gates with Tamari and Kankuro as he gave them a hug goodbye. He was going to Konoha, not because of his Jinchuriki status, but because of his scouting ability. It was one only found in the hidden sand, greater than the Byakugan because you can scout further and in different directions, but because they were getting Gaara, Danzo had to send a shinobi of his own. Actually, he sent 3, Kakashi, Genma, and Sasumi. Back at Konoha, Sasuke and Eugeo slid apart from each other. Sasuke was losing in the spar as Eugeo gave him 0 time to think or breathe. His body was moving on instinct. There were many times where he would have died, but he activated his Susanoo ribcage. But even that was taxing, mainly because she would strike it with her sword, and right before she jumped away, she dropped an explosive tag, causing him to leave it active longer than he should have, thus resulting in further chakra drain. Sasuke had to admit, Eugeo was perfection with the sword. She was also good with taijutsu and highly proficient in water jutsus. But then again, she did train under someone with the Sharingan, so he wasn't too surprised that she knew how to fight him and end up with the advantage. Meanwhile, Naruto just finished training his group as they all started to go home, but Hanabi and Hinata just laid on the ground, unable to move, as to how sore and bruised they were. Hanabi groaned in pain as she tried to stand up, but only fell back down. Same with Hinata. Though the muscles in her arms and legs were torn, Naruto was serious about breaking their habits of using the non-flexible fighting style that they were raised and bred to use. Whenever they unknowingly used the style in training against him, he would simply counter and grab the wrist or ankle or whatever part they used to attack him, and he would elbow the body part, reinforcing it with chakra, disturbing their chakra flow through the body part, as it would cause their chakra to spasm and split, causing the muscles to rip slowly until they just completely tore. Naruto bent down and picked up Hanabi, Bridie style. Hey, what are you? But she was cut off. Are you able to walk without assistance? She shook her head as Naruto continued, as she blushed, as he made a clone that did the same with Hinata, as he took the both of them home. But guys, I'm going to leave it off right there. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe while you're at it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.